And welcome everybody. Hey y'all. So it's a little bit different today. I want to thank everyone who's watching. It's greatly appreciated. It's just going to be me today. Unfortunately, everyone else had either life stuff or wasn't feeling well, and I never obligate anybody to ever show up on a stream with me. So it's just going to be me today. So I hope y'all have some fun and chill out. And we're going to discuss a little Star Trek. Sorry, Star Wars. I don't know why I just said Star Trek, but you know me, the most professional YouTuber out there today. So, yeah. Anywho, so today we're going to be doing a little chat about the Tarkin Doctrine. And I know I've done several videos, or I should say live streams in the past about Star Wars. And this is gonna be the last one for a bit. Okay. I don't want to bore y'all with just solely Star Wars, even though I could talk about Star Wars forever. Y'all probably would want to hear discussions on other stuff, unless the crowd hungers for more Star Wars, then I must abide to the will of the crowd. So, anyways, so we are going to be talking today about the Tarkin Doctrine, and you're probably asking, "Well, CSA, what's the Tarkin Doctrine here?" Well, the Tarkin Doctrine is this right here. It is a doctrine of terror and of fear that thought up to basically control the empire. And the thing about this doctrine is I don't believe it was super effective in what it was doing, because Grand Admiral Tarkin, he basically came up with this whole theory of input fear into the populace and you will subjugate them, just solely based off of fear. And that's why he was a huge proponent of the Death Star. Sorry, I was going to say Star Destroyer for a second. But he was a big proponent of the Death Star, because he saw it as, well, what better way to scare your populace, aka the populace of the whole entire empire, than threaten to blow up your planet. And that's why he solely believed in the Death Star, was a fear mentality. So he relied on the Death Star as the ultimate means. But he was also the proponent of another ship that he favored very heavily because of just the sheer sight of it. The Star Destroyer. He was a very, very, very big proponent of the Star Destroyer. And the reason why he was such a massive proponent of the Star Destroyer was, imagine having one ship, just one ship, that could level entire continents just by itself. Which, it sounds devastating, correct? Well, it sounds devastating up until the fact that you realize that this ship took a very, very long time to build. I believe they were only able to pump out at one of their production facilities several a year. And you're talking an entire freaking galaxy. But Tarkin was so dead set on this ship, which I think any Star Wars fan would admit is a beautiful ship. It's a classic Star Wars ship. It's something that I think is too overly used by the Empire. That's just my personal feelings. Because the Tarkin Doctrine, remember, it was solely based around fear. And if it's solely based around fear, then this ship in such a small quantities can't cover an entire as much of the known galaxy as we knew that was controlled by the Empire. These ships had small hangar bays. They had small hangar bays compared to their predecessor, which was the Venator. So since the Venator was the predecessor to the Star Destroyer, and I believe I have actually another one. Let me see if I pulled this one up. Did I not? No, I didn't. Okay, for some reason I thought I did. I'll have to go find that photo then. So this, it being the Venator Star Destroyer, which anyone who's seen Star Wars Episode 3 knows that they sorry, I just had a brief brain fart. I'm so sorry about that, y'all. That this was the primary ship used by the Galactic Republic, and it was only used for several years, and they pumped out mass amounts of these. However, even though that these were used in a Swiss Army knife roll, from forward base to battleship to carrier to command ship to all these various roles, this one singular ship. And the thing is about the Venator, if you look at it solely as a well-defended carrier, if you just look at the Venator solely as a well-defended carrier, this ship here is perfect, or one of the great things that the Empire should have kept into role. Because if the Tarkin Doctrine was never implemented, then the Venator, you could park one per system. And remember, these ships did not take as much manpower and resources and time to produce. It means you could pump out more Venators. Okay, so these can hold up to 200 ships. Now, let's say you shrink that down to where they can only carry 150 fighters. Well, you can cover one star system with a Venator. And now you might be asking yourself, CSA, why would you, but what about, no, remember, this is after the Clone Wars, okay? This is after the Clone Wars. So since this is after the Clone Wars, there's no big, great military threat to the Empire. There isn't. The only reason why they quickly pumped out these Venators was because of the threat of the droid army from the CIS. So if you use the Venator already established, you have a much more effective platform. But then here's another ship that I think also was very underused and quickly phased out by the Empire. The Acclimator class. I know. Take it in. It's a beautiful ship design. I mean, I think it's a beautiful ship design. I mean, again, George Lucas, say what you want about George Lucas, and I can say a lot. George Lucas knew what he was doing until he decided to sell Disney to Star Wars, in which case, this is one of the mottos of this channel. So if you ever watch Smoking Patriot, you know Disney EU sucks. So with that out of the way, let's continue, y'all. So the Acclimator class here, this ship is very interesting. It was primarily used as a troop carrier. That's what it was used for. Now, it was armed. It was armed with 2 torpedo launchers and about 24 to 30 turbo laser batteries. So this ship was not like a weakling of a ship. Now, granted, it wasn't a battleship. It wasn't designed to be in heavy, slugged out fights and everything. But the thing about this ship is that if you retrofit its hangar bays, you can carry large amounts of fighters in an Acclimator. So if you can carry large amounts of fighters in an Acclimator, why not use this to patrol an entire system? You still have mass amounts of oh, hey, Ramblin'. Hey, how you doing? Hope you're feeling better, buddy. Um, so the Venator, I feel like, would even be a better supplement to the Star Destroyer. Now, I need to get this out there if I haven't already said it. The Star Destroyer, I have nothing against the ship. I still think it should have been produced. However, oh, by the way, Ramblin', if you want to get in here, just get in touch with Owen, because I don't know if I'm friends with you on Discord. So get in touch with Owen and have him get. I'll get you the information if you wanna jump on here, buddy. But the Acclimator, I feel like, is a very underused ship because it didn't fall into the Tarkin Doctrine. However, if your goal as the Empire is to have complete subjugation of your populace, what better role than a ship like this, which it wasn't a small ship, but it was nowhere near the size of a Star Destroyer, but it could carry still lots of personnel and had plenty of firepower to defend itself from pirates and other groups. Because remember, the Empire couldn't produce shit tons of Star Destroyers at once. Okay, so if you need to control an entire empire, you want to have all your ships, which you already have, your Acclimators, your Venators, and we have another ship also that was introduced during the Clone Wars, which isn't really talked about a whole lot, but I feel is a very is a beautiful looking ship. We have this ship, and pardon me, I forget the name of the ship. I remembered it, but then I had to cancel the stream. So this stream originally was supposed to be last week, but I went to a wedding and I thought, oh, I could still do it, but the hotel internet kept going in and out constantly. So that's why. But I originally have remembered the name of this ship. So, but this specific Clone Wars era ship, I think, was also very underutilized. Hang on a second. I might have to steal a quote from Jeremy here, but I'm not going to do that just yet. So you have this ship here, and the thing about this ship is that it doesn't. It's not a massive ship. It's not. This is a light cruiser. Okay, I believe it's classified as a light cruiser. So what this ship had is it had. You see these two turrets? These two turrets, along with two more on directly if you go look on the underbelly, they're exactly like if you draw a straight line. So if you're looking at these two turrets right here, you have two turbo lasers and two laser cannons. So you have these turrets. Well, then you also had 4 concussion missile tubes, 2 on each side here as well. So this thing, well, it might not look like much, was a fast ship and could defend itself relatively easy. But the beauty about this ship, it doesn't take up much personnel, maybe a few hundred at the very most. So it doesn't require immense amounts of personnel, and you can pump these ships out relatively well. And on top of all that, there's modifications made to some of these, where in this prong you see in the front end here, there's a modification where you can put several TIE fighters right there. And we actually see this if you watch the TV show Rebels, you see these ships at times with, I believe it's 3 or 4 TIE fighters right here. So that's 3 Clone Wars era ships that are already had been mass produced for the Clone Wars that the Empire could have easily used. And remember, the Empire came after the foundation of the Empire came to existence at the moment that the Clone Wars ended. Okay, so you have this ship, and this ship, okay, pumped out in enormous quantities already. But they decided to get rid of all of them for this one ship. Now, if you do go back to some sources, I don't know how accurate these sources are, but some sources do say ships like the Acclimator There were some acclimators in the days after the years after that were stationed in like the outer places, like the equivalency of DS9 to the Federation, where DS9 was on the outskirts and like Wild West territory, basically. That's where acclimators were stationed for a bit, but until they were decommissioned. But that was only a few years. So you're talking this ship didn't even get 10 years worth of life out of it. For a ship that's very well designed and was very fast, especially in hyperspace. It could get from point A to point B like that. So those 3 ships go to replace this one. So I say this one ship doesn't have the capabilities of all 3 of those. But there's other ships, though, that we see that the Empire uses, okay? We have Gazanti class. I believe that this is okay. Maybe y'all can post in the comments, okay? I've seen this classified as a frigate, and some call it a corvette. I've seen the name constantly. I've seen 2 different names for this, so I don't know if there's an actual difference between the 2 or if there is, but I don't know. Maybe I'm mistaken, but whenever I look it up, I always have to select, whenever I select either one, it always shows me the exact same ship. So maybe y'all can comment on that. I don't know. But sorry. Anyways, so we have the Gazanti class. I'll call it corvette. It might be a frigate. I'll just call it a corvette right now. The Gazanti class here. These are typically used by the Empire in when you want to station forces to blockade a planet, but you don't want to send a Star Destroyer. Because remember, Star Destroyers were a massive amount. We're talking on a Star Destroyer, it was at least 20,000 people it took. And by the way, that's not even counting the legions of stormtroopers that were on a single Star Destroyer. You're talking, by the time you have all the personnel, you're talking 30,000 bare minimum, at the bare minimum on a Star Destroyer. So obviously that's a lot of personnel you need. Well, they would station like two Gazantis around a planet. So you have 8 TIE fighters, and then the Gazantis typically had 2 laser cannon turrets. Sorry, 2 dual laser cannon turrets. I gotta make sure I get that right. And so we had you saw these ships in Rebels as well. Nothing wrong with the ship, but I feel like it's used as a cheap way of explaining how ineffective the Tarkin Doctrine was. Because, again, the Tarkin Doctrine was solely about fear. Now, I'm no expert, but that typically doesn't work down the road. Okay, sure, that might work for a bit, but here's the big problem that you run into. At first, it works, but what was that one thing that kept happening to the Empire? Oh yeah, they had a rebellion. You had all these rebellion cells. Now, I have heard people say that it's part of Star Wars lore that the rise of the Empire eventually gave way to the rise of the rebellion, where the rebellion cells all started popping up. Okay, great. We know that. That's already established Star Wars canon. But this conversation is about whether the Tarkin Doctrine hastened the rise of the rebellion within the Empire. The rebellion was going to happen no matter which way you slice the cake, left, right, up, down. I don't care if you're contortionist. I don't care. But if the Tarkin Doctrine was never introduced and made except an actual doctrine by the Empire and the Emperor, would the rebellion have been delayed? Because remember, the Empire didn't have enough forces to patrol every single sector and even every single system because, again, you were relying solely on Star Destroyers as your primary ship. I know the Empire had other ships, I know, but the Tarkin Doctrine revolved around Star Destroyers. That's my point. The Empire had various ships they could have used, and they didn't. They used them in very small, minuscule ways. But is that an effective way of using a pretty broad fleet? All right. Now, here's another ship, and y'all are probably going to knock me for this, okay? Y'all are probably going to knock me for it. All right? All right, just get it out. Get it out of your system. I'll sit here and wait for a second. Let y'all get it out. All right, now that that's over with, all right, let's get into this ship. Now, this is the Interdictor Cruiser. It's not heavily armed, okay? Let's just get that out of the bat. It's a very, very paperweight, lightweight ship, okay? However, though, what this ship had one come on, CSA, get your tongues untied. Hang on one quick second. Sorry about that. Okay, anyways. So the Interdictor Cruiser, the reason why what's special is these big old gross bulbs, whatever you want to call them. You could come up with all sorts of terms. I even heard, I shit y'all not, I heard a Star Wars guy say this in a long chat on a Facebook post years ago. He compared the Interdictor to the Star Wars version of the three boob chick from Total Recall. I kid you not. That's what he did. He's like, it's got all these bulges on it. I'm like, oh dear Lord, you did not just say that on Facebook. You did not just say that. Of course, he didn't get banned, but this is back in the day when you can actually say something on Facebook. Anyways, enough about Facebook. Gave away too much credit there. So the Interdictor, what made it very interesting is that those bulbs were actually 4 gravity well generators. And what gravity well generators did in Star Wars is they basically prevented the use of hyperspace. So if you had one of these ships used, no ship in that system could leave. It could, or if you were in hyperspace, it would pull you out of it. But they were typically used for preventing ships from leaving, typically. Now, this was a very experimental ship. Not many of these were made. They were very expensive ships. However, I don't feel like these ships were very well used. I don't, because let me ask this. If you're not devoting so much resources and materials and time and R&D and money and all these things, okay, into mass producing Star Destroyers on an unchartable scale, then you could probably make more of these. Now, am I saying you would have tens of thousands of these? No, but thousands of them, yes. You could park these in one per sector. And then every time you're like, we got a possible rebellion cell. Okay, you send this ship along with, say, an acclimator and 2 of the other ships that I showed. Okay, you got yourself a little fleet there. Boom, you're over the planet. This activates its gravity wells. The rebellion can't leave the planet. You wipe it out. Bing, bang, boom. Now, before I go any further, I just have to say one thing. And this is more for legal reasons, okay? That CSA and anyone else that hosts this stream are basically
rebel scum.
That's right. We are rebel scum. So yes, you might be saying, CSA, if you're rebel scum, why are you talking about the Empire? Well, obviously the Empire's been defeated. But it doesn't hurt to go back to look in history and ask the what if questions, you know? And I'm like, hail, Phoenix Arches. Hail, I'm glad you can make it. I'm glad you can make it. I'm glad. I want to thank everybody who's been here so far, listening and watching, and everyone who's joined. It warms the soul of the man's soul. It warms my soul. Thank you all so much. I don't take any of y'all for granted. I don't. I'm blessed that every one of you decided to take time out of your day, and I hope I'm making this as interesting as I can for y'all. So, but yeah. So just we just got to get this. We just got to make sure that this is CSA supports rebel scum. That's right. That's right. Why the hell not? I mean, just why the hell not at this point? So, anyways, well, where are the photos? Okay, so let's talk about that ship. So, another ship that we know the Empire used as well was this ship. I know it's a Corvette, but I don't know if I ever it's a I think it was called a Raider class Corvette or something like that. It was something like that, I think. I can't remember. I want to say it was a Raider class Corvette. But that being said, this ship, I feel like we got it in Battlefront 2. So for any of those who don't know what this ship is, this was a ship when they did the campaign for Battlefront 2. The most recent, I gotta stipulate this, the most recent Battlefront 2, because there was technically 2 Battlefront 2s. The newer Battlefront 2. This was the, I don't even want to say it was the hero ship, because you're playing as the Empire, so I guess it depends on your point of view, but we'll call it the hero ship for lack of a better term. This was the hero ship of that campaign. It was, we know it's a Corvette. It can house up to 2 starfighters in its hold. Not standard, but it is capable of it if it has to. We know that it's atmospheric capable and can land. Has a crew of less than 100, or about 100 at most. It's very well armed for its size. Very well armed. So, and it's, fast and agile. So, I mean, I think it's a bit overpowered, if you ask me, because this thing has multiple laser cannon and turbo laser turrets on top of several concussion missile tubes. So, I mean, I feel like it's a bit overpowered. But then again, this is the Empire. They're trying to compensate for something. So, yeah, I said it. The Empire's trying to compensate for something. So, but anyways, so this ship, I feel like, could have been used by the Empire in mass amounts and not just for spec op teams. So, yeah, Phoenix, yeah, EA's Battlefront 2, yeah. And I play it too. I think I still have it downloaded on my Xbox. I think I do. I know I own it. I just don't know. I just don't remember if it's downloaded or not. But anyways, where was I? Ah, yes. So this Raider ship, I feel like, could have been used heavily by the Empire, because we all know the CR-90 Corvette, which when I was a kid, I just called it the 11-engine ship because I never knew its name. I was a kid. I was like 6-7 years old. Okay, that was how I identified a ship. Okay, I called it the 11-engine ship because it has 11 exhaust ports for its engines, for its sublight speed engines. So I called it the 11-engine ship until I learned its name a couple years later. But we know that the Rebel Alliance fielded those in mass. But why couldn't the Empire field a corvette of the similar way? Because remember, we know that the Rebel Alliance loved to use starfighters on hit-and-run tactics. Well, especially in Star Wars, modern day, this applies too, but we're talking about Star Wars universe. In the Star Wars universe, you need a mixed variety fleet. Now, for those of you who don't know what that is, it means that you just don't have one type of ship. You don't have only battleships or frigates or cruisers or destroyers, or you have a mixed everything. So that way you cover yourself on as many fields as possible. So when I say mixed fleet tactics, I mean this. Let's say you got a battleship, Star Destroyer, and it's going through space, okay? Well, Star Destroyers don't have any anti-starfighter weapons. All they had were turbo lasers and ion cannons. Great if you're going up against a ship big enough to where your turrets can track them relatively easy. But when you're talking starfighters, they relied solely on their TIE fighters. But they carried a very limited amount of the TIE fighters. So you needed a better form of anti-starfighter. This is where corvettes and some frigates would play into the roles, okay? So corvettes like this would basically kind of, I don't want to say zoom through the battlefield, but they would fly through the battlefield using usually they had a lot of laser cannon turrets, which laser cannon turrets were the ones that were fast firing that you used on starfighters. So this ship would have been perfect for that, because you could just fly through fleets, your fleet or the enemy fleet, and just be picking off starfighters left and right. We know the Rebel Alliance had the CR-90, which was that thing had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. A stock CR-90 had at least eight laser cannon turrets, at least. So the CR-90 was more than capable of defending against starfighters and defending larger ships against starfighters. So we know this. But another ship that is surprisingly that a lot of people forget was the Empire, the Nebulon B. Now, you're probably wondering why I have this ship on here. This isn't a Nebulon B. It looks like, no, that's where you're wrong. This ship here is the Nebulon B. However, this is a fan design of what the Nebulon B most likely would have looked like before the Rebel Alliance got their hands on it. It would have looked armored. Notice how the spine is beefier, because on the Rebel Alliance, it looks like shit was stripped off of it. This is a fan design, and I personally think that this should be canonized, but that's just me. This is a Nebulon B armored up, and you can see it's got racks there with tubes going down to starfighters. We know that there were some variants of the Nebulon B that had hangar bays that could handle up to a dozen fighters or more. So Nebulon Bs had a mixed bag of turbo lasers and laser cannons. And these ships were really great in fleet actions because they had enough turbo lasers to where they could go on against other cruisers and hold their own, but had enough laser cannons to where that they could fend off against starfighter attacks, specifically bomber attacks, because bombers were the ones who would drop proton bombs, fire ion torpedoes, ion bombs, or proton torpedoes, or concussion missiles. If there's a sixth weapon that bombers can launch, please, somebody comment because I can't think of the sixth one. I know those five at least. So we know that this ship was capable of doing it, but all we know it as is as a rebellion ship, because we know the rebellion stole these in large quantities, and for a reason is these ships also had a very powerful sensor suite and communications array as well, meaning that it could scan way further out than a standard starship, and its communications could be broadcasted at a far greater range. So these were perfect for the rebellion to be used. But imagine if you had one of these ships sitting, you had like two of these ships, or three, or four, however many you needed to cover an entire sector, so that way they each had grids. And you have a Nebulon B just sitting there scanning and communicating, and you had it just being used in that manner. I mean, we know these ships could handle themselves. Why not use this and a few corvettes, or this and some other ships? Do you know what I'm going at with all this? The Empire that we know of had other ships at their disposal. The problem is that they didn't use proper mixed fleet tactics. Since they didn't use proper mixed fleet tactics, it clearly shows that they could not properly counter the rebels or rebellion. Second, there we go. Sorry. We know that there was nobody to properly counter the rebellion the way the rebellion needed to. You needed to stop their anti-fighter attacks. Okay. Now, again, go broad scope, galaxy wide. You needed to be able to protect many different sectors and systems. Okay. Well, I've already shown you a bunch of ships that could have been used. Okay. Here's another one. Some people don't like this ship. Some people think it's ugly. Some people think it doesn't make any sense. I argue this. Yeah, in some ways it is not the most prettiest looking ship, but I argue it is a very functional ship. And the reason why is this. This is a ship that is not meant to be used in ship-on-ship action. It is not meant for that. No. This is the akin to basically an aircraft carrier. That's what this ship is, basically. It is not heavily armored. It has enough turbo lasers and laser cannons on it to protect against some starfighter action, but that's it. The shields are not the strongest. Its armor is light and weak, but something that this ship does very well is carry a shit ton of starfighters. This ship, when I last looked, and if somebody knows these numbers properly, and you can correct me, put it in the chat. This ship can carry upwards of 120 fighters. Now, again, those are the numbers I saw. If someone's got numbers that counter mine, please put them in the chat. I will gladly pull that up and be... Yes, yeah, exactly, Phoenix. If you look at this thing from a side profile, it is very limited. Even from the front, it's very limited. Its only weakness is if you're looking at it solely from the top and the bottom. That's where it's weak. That's where it has a great weakness. However, if you look at it from the side, you have this kind of belly where the hangar bays are. But aside from the belly, it's a very narrow profile. So, and for especially starfighters, you need the biggest targeting profile you can get your hands on because you're moving fast. So these ships, I feel like, weren't really utilized by the Empire as well as they could have been. I mean, again, if we're talking your objective is to cover entire star systems, this ship could probably handle itself no problem. Remember, 120 starfighters. Let's say you get a pirate fleet of a few corvettes and a frigate and maybe 30 starfighters. You have enough starfighters here to counter their starfighters, and then you throw maybe a couple dozen bombers. You've wiped out the enemy fleet with just this one ship. So, hey guys. All right. I got everybody weep with me. We have a visitor. And let me pull this down because I'm ashamed to admit this.
Hey, buddy.
He lives.
I'm alive.
That damn assassin didn't do his job again. What am I? Oh, that's right. I'm paying him in potatoes. That's
actually, there was a school competition in Irish sports called GAA in female hurling, and the council of the city to the top girl gave her a 10 kg bag of potatoes.
Wait. They actually gave her a 10 kilogram bag of potatoes.
I will find you the news article. Yes.
Oh, please do, because I gotta fucking see this. All right.
I was saying to you earlier, finished about 10 minutes ago, and I saw you by yourself, and I'm like, fuck. So I came on. Also, keep an eye backstage. I'm bringing a friend.
We got Ramblin' right there. Hey, Ramblin', how you doing?
What's that Revan lying about now?
What, having friends?
Well, remember, he has to be nice because I do have his children hostage.
My babies!
I have his children hostage now, so he has to be good. So, but guys, I another legal matter that we have to address and make sure this is fully on the record. Star Wars absolutely sucks.
Wait, Star Wars, Disney Star Wars.
Disney Star Wars. Sorry. Thank you. Disney at Star Wars actually sucks. Because, and I don't think I can zoom in on this.
No, you can't, sadly.
Yeah, I wish I could. But
no, it's actually quite big.
Yeah, it actually is, yeah. But that's in this right here, I wasn't going to say anything. But in the first paragraph on the page right here, it says, that is like George Lucas promising no more mediocre and schlocky Star Wars sequels shortly after selling the franchise to Disney. Such a promise would be an illusion. And then at the bottom here, so there's a little 5 right here. And then on the bottom of here, it says, as evident to Disney's production of The Last Jedi and Rise of Skywalker. This is actually a fucking legal document that clearly states Disney Star Wars sucks.
CSA?
Oh, sorry. I can't.
Check your Facebook and read this out. You will die.
Oh, God.
Is it another Revan manifesto?
I don't
blah,
know.
blah, blah, the potatoes, blah, blah, blah.
Blah, 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 the potatoes, blah, 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 the freedom.
Me the potatoes are going to rise again, and I just tell them, I'll send the Russians. They'll gladly make more vodka.
The potatoes will rise again.
We'll make potato chips. It's all good.
Lays is going to love you, by the way.
Old Dutch, you know.
Yeah, there's literally...
There's the Canadian in me.
Yeah, like, Lays would literally just put... I'm sure if Lays could get away with it, they would make a triple family-sized bag, just put one crisp in it, and just, like, inflate the entire thing.
Yeah, that's what Lays does, I swear to God. Okay, so... GAA
is what the...
Oh my God, stop with these fucking things.
You know, he was having a nice stream, and then we came along.
No, thank you. No, it's these fucking little pop-up things. Oh, do you want this? Do you want that? I can't even fucking actually read the article.
He had a concise, the script down. He was doing good, and then we showed up, and everything went to hell. Well, actually, I'm blaming it on Revan showing up and everything.
No, I'm blaming it.
It had nothing to do with me.
Oh, what? It's the only one because I'm...
Okay.
I'm the foreign one.
Oh, God.
Hey, I'm Canadian, so that kind of counts.
Dude, that's just American, but bitchier.
But you're Irish, and we always pick on the Irish.
Wait, hold on. So are you, and so is he. You're both Irish diaspora.
Yeah, but we're the
so
good kind. We've left the motherland.
You're like, no, our ancestors were smart. They left.
Precisely.
My ancestor left, excuse you, he just came back.
He had to drop you off.
Well, someone fucking had to.
Oh, God. All right, I'm just going to read
Okay.
the headline. Talented GAA player wins bag of potatoes for her recent brilliant performances. Let's see. Have a bit of fun. Time-tested honor.
There's a picture!
Oh.
There's a picture!
Yeah, holy shit! It's true. She literally is holding a 10-kilogram, which for all of you people out there who aren't, educated, that's subpar to the metric system here in America. I'm just saying, but 10
So
kilograms.
it says ye. The rest of the world would disagree.
Oh, I'm sorry. Who was the first one to make it on the moon?
Russia.
Russia.
No, I'm sorry. Say that one more time. Say it.
Russia.
I knew that was coming. That's why I shut my mouth. I've been around long.
Have you learned to say the proper word?
Daddy.
See, everything was going great until you invited that to come on here.
It's okay. Honestly, I couldn't care.
Yeah, but
I
dude,
couldn't care.
so show. Do you want me to share the screen? So
hang on 1 second. I will. Yeah, you go ahead and share the screen because I'm
going. Yeah, I'm just gonna bring this down. Dude,
Yeah.
I'm going.
You're making an Irishman think. Can you see the smoke signals from here?
Yes, of course you
I'm
can
just
see the
saying.
smoke signal.
That was the prize. A 10-kilogram bag of potatoes.
She looks so fucking happy. She's like, yeah.
Okay, let's just be real. Because by the way, this article is from June 6th of this year.
Yes.
Revving in a past life.
So, God. Let's just be real though. With
I
as
would
much
have taught.
shit as Ireland's been through, though, she's glad to have a bag of potatoes. At this
Yeah. So
Rav-
we were supposed to be
Rambling.
talking about the
Sorry,
Tarkin
one-
Doctrine.
But 1 sec first. Rambling, I'm so disappointed. I would have also used the joke, the only woman to ever touch Revan, as seen this photo.
Well, I wasn't going to be that mean to her. Jeez. I was trying to give her some dignity.
Wait, what does that taste like?
The tears of your enemies.
Oh, okay.
Oh, I'd pull up that South Park bit, but I'm still working on finding it. I'm still working on finding that one South Park bit.
So,
Anyways,
yeah, because you had a topic.
I did the Tarkin Doctrine.
I.e. the United States Navy.
Oh shit. Okay, let's just be real. I've known people who were Canadians, amazing people, but I'm sorry. Wooden canoes does not classify a navy. Canada needs to upgrade, okay?
Dude, come on, let's be honest. The Canadian Navy is literally a guy with a bucket called Steve.
Well, we don't need a Canadian Navy. We have the Royal Navy. We don't need the Canadian Navy. But we do have the Canadian Navy only gets bigger when there's a war. Because we don't prep for wars that don't exist. We only react to wars that actually are in progress. If you look back, World War II, Canada was like 0 when it came to Navy. By the end of the war, we were 3rd largest Navy in the world, and then we sold all that shit for scrap.
Yeah. I mean, you guys are like, oh, we don't need anything.
And then of course you have the United States Navy during World War II that decides that, just because they're entering the war late and, we've been doing this a lot longer than they have, we don't know what we're talking about and convoys are a bad idea. But let's not talk about Admiral King. All right, moving on.
By the way,
Yes.
I'm not sure who he is. There's so many freaking admirals out there. I can honestly never.
He's the one that hated the British.
Well,
So
somebody
do a damn thing they said.
Was he Irish by any chance?
He might have.
He might have been, but no, he hated the British with a passion since World War One.
Just to give the stream a laugh, I said this to Rambling. I don't know, did I say this to you, CSA? So, in the British Parliament, they have all paintings
Wankers.
of. Well, yes, I'm talking about the painting of the wankers, right? So over the door of the Parliament Hall, they have one giant painting. Okay, it used to be Saint Andrew killing the dragon, but since dragons don't exist, they had to take it down. So they're like, who are we going to replace this with? Will we replace it with Queen Elizabeth? And they're like, no. All the monarchs are on the left-hand side. Like, they've got enough paintings, right? And they're like, okay, let's paint it with a national hero, someone to give the British pride. Oliver Cromwell, and entitled the painting Oliver the Great. Well, their first meeting after this painting was rehung was with the Irish delegation. They walked up, looked up at this giant picture of Oliver Cromwell, listed Oliver the Great, turned around, walked off, and haven't been back since.
Wait, say what again? Sorry, I was drinking something.
Did you hear any of that?
I heard part of it.
Fine. The British hung a giant ass painting.
Oliver Cromwell, Oliver the Great, but then after that, I didn't hear anything.
The first meeting they had after that was with the Irish delegation. They showed up, they looked up at the painting, turned around, left, and haven't been back since, and said that they will be back when that painting is removed.
Well, I don't blame them. I don't blame him one bit. Considering how much of an asshole he was, yeah.
Considering how much put it lightly.
Yeah.
But so
what?
Back
a
to
British
Star
person
Wars.
being an asshole? Never.
Wait,
That would never happen.
So,
a Protestant being an asshole to the Irish Catholics? No, really? No,
never.
No,
That would never happen.
But okay, so Ramblin', are you a gamer by chance?
No, my son is. I let him do all that, and then I just ask him, did it suck? And then he just saves me a lot of grief.
Yeah. So okay. So but
like Battlefront 2.
No. See, your son was spared the good old days of online gaming with the first and second Halo and Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2 and 3, because in those online multiplayers, the things that were said would get you kicked off the internet.
Oh no, my son was in that, which is why he laughs at all these. But
the Brits were the ones who I insulted the most, because they'd always be like, "Oh, you Americans, you this, you that, and whatnot. Man, we should have kicked your ass in the Revolutionary." I'm like, yeah, but we kicked your ass in the Revolutionary War
with the help of the French.
But then again, the French and the British already hated each other, so the French were like,
passionately.
We get somebody who is British.
My son would always tell me stories back in those days of him having to explain to Americans that we don't live in igloos, and we
wait, hold on,
don't ride mooses to work, and I mean,
oh my god.
I
never thought that.
We don't live in igloos. We don't ride polar bears to school. And what was the
My life is a lie.
There was another stupid one that he would always have to laugh at.
I was asked by
with
someone
great pleasure about all these people that he's just shaking his head at and gone, they're stupid, Dad. They're just.
I was asked by somebody who I used to be good friends with. If you're watching, please read a fucking book. Well, first of all, learn to read. He asked me, whilst I was on the computer to him, on Discord, does Ireland have electricity? I'm like, no.
You're not like, okay, you're not in Mexico, okay? You're not in Mexico.
Oh, that'd be an upgrade.
God. Okay. Let me finish this topic and then we can just be going on about whatever.
Yeah.
I'm almost done. But Phoenix brings up an interesting thing here. Tarkin Doctrine is effective in a galaxy that has been subjugated. However, it is ineffective when it comes to actual engagements. And Phoenix, I think you're on the right track with kind of what I'm thinking. Is that the Tarkin Doctrine would be effective if it was in the early days of the Empire when there's so much chaos because you have all these systems that were part of the Confederacy. So you need to bring the Empire into line. So you initiate a campaign of fear to bring everything in line and kind of calm down the fires, so to speak. But
see,
that's not a long-term strategy, though.
Yeah, see, for me,
not.
I think they should have ditched the Death Stars. Like, should have just ditched them completely.
Yeah,
they're useless. And instead, they should have gone to something like an updated Venator class.
Yeah.
And more Star Destroyers. Because, like, even scrap the Super Star Destroyer, because that's just a big thing that has hit me a million times written on it. And it only appeals to Darth Vader's ego. So,
in the Super Star Destroyer's offense, it is a very effective ship for what it's meant to do.
Yes, command and control.
Command and control. I mean, that's the kind of thing you put into
it's like the modern day fleet carrier.
Well, far more than that. It's quite literally this. It'd be like this equivalency size of New York City.
Yeah, but for war purposes, we're talking. It's a fleet carrier. It's the one that has the admiral on it. It directs the other ships where they need to be. It's where all the power sits.
Yeah,
but yeah, you get rid of those big ugly, because all you're doing is you're throwing a whole bunch of resources into one spot. So it doesn't matter how big the Death Star is; it can only be in one system at one time. Whereas if you trade that off for 1,000 Star Destroyers, well, damn.
But here's the thing. At the same time. So you had the Republic versus the Separatists, which means that there was people who already wanted to separate. And the Empire thinks it could hold the galaxy with an iron fist?
Yeah. I mean, that's what it wants to do. But here's the problem with the Star Destroyer. They could only pump out only a handful a year. And they were so resource intensive and they were so overpowered. I mean, the thing had damn well hundreds of turbo lasers and dozens of heavy turbo lasers. Who the hell are you going to use that on? You have no major fleet to engage.
No.
I mean, that's why I argue the Venator is far more effective because
I had a theory.
Ramblin first and then Remy.
Oh yeah,
Canada first and that Irish scum. All right,
fucking oppressing me as usual. The president's oppressing the.
Hey, he doesn't catch me on fire when we're sailing a ship together. Okay.
It was.
Oh God, you let Revan on a ship? Oh, wow.
We play Sea of Thieves together, and
other than stowage.
This is the man that guides me to an active volcano and says, "Hey, let me explore this island quick." A volcano erupts. Hey, come get me out of here while you got fucking boulders of molten lava flying.
I would have just sat on the ship with like marshmallows and just been, I'm over here, Revan.
I almost did that. I almost just sat there.
You know, like seriously. But no, I mean, if you have a mixture of the Venator and your like an upgraded Venator, and then Star Destroyer, you have essentially battleships and or if you really want to get technical, fast battleships with your aircraft carrier, which is what we use in the modern vernacular, which is way better than, because then you could like deploy so many X-wing or not X-wings, TIE fighters that it would just overwhelm anything that came anywhere near you.
Well,
But
that's the
instead
beauty
they
of the
went for
Venator.
bigger
though.
and bad.
So
The Venator back in the Clone Wars, we never saw this on screen, but if you look at the actual stats of it, it can hold almost 220 starfighters, just one Venator, just one. So you place that into a system, you have enough starfighters to cover the whole system and enough firepower on the Venator to counter any true threat. One Venator can do that, and you had many thousands of these things.
Yeah, but I'd give
in
them
the
a little bit of a
clones.
facelift, a little bit of an upgrade.
I agree there.
You know,
A bit of a
give them a little
spit shine.
facelift, give them a little bit of upgrade. But at the same time, you could do so much more with that type of fleet than you ever could with a Star Destroyer, and then you have the Death Star, which can only be in one system at once, which
Yep.
is pointless. And then all you have to do is make sure you're attacking where the Death Star isn't. And then
Exactly.
right? So
Exactly, yeah.
but if you were to switch all those resources into building a battle fleet with Star Destroyers and an upgraded Venator class, your ability to strike fast and hard against a rebel insurgent is way easier than, you know, having to have this big oversized stupid space station come into and then try to lock onto a little ship with a freaking, well, basically the Yamamoto syndrome. Bigger isn't always better.
Well, and that's always been my argument, is that the Venators are not battleships. They have the firepower of like a heavy cruiser. But
well, no, I would even equate them more to an aircraft carrier.
well, no,
World
I'm
War
talking
II
strictly from
full layout, because then you've got the anti-aircraft guns, which the American ones especially were renowned for because they went with a wooden deck instead of, you know, steel. But
yeah.
you know, for their own reasons, and it fit the doctrine at the time. But at any rate, before I turn this into a freaking World War II conversation,
Hey, go for it. I love World War II.
I have
love
a
military
history channel, so yeah, I can go all freaking day long on that.
I have a channel as well.
Wait, you have a history, dude?
Yeah,
Okay,
history with R&R, yeah.
history.
Um,
I'm a
it-
history buff, man, especially military history.
I originally started that channel with my late friend Admiral Doom, who served in the United States Navy on an aircraft carrier. So we started that channel, and then unfortunately he passed in January. So I've been kind of carrying on the channel. I've had my own little hits with, you know, my kidney failing and them having to put in a central line, which now I get to joke that, you know that Darth Vader line, he's more machine than man now.
Yeah, yeah.
Well, I have tubes coming out of my chest, so I think I qualify.
I mean, well, that could put you closer to Bane, though, like from
Or
Batman
Borg.
and Robin.
Or Borg. You know,
or
one of the
Borg, yeah.
yeah. So, but no, I mean, like the whole doctrine was set up to go against another major fleet, which is not what they were going up against. They were going up against
Yeah.
small pockets of resistance. They needed to be able to be everywhere at once, not one place all the time.
Yeah,
So
exactly.
if you had a more flexible battle group, you would be way more successful than the Tarkin Doctrine, because Tarkin Doctrine would be good if they were going into like the outer portions where they don't know what's out there, so they're going with the most firepower possible, and then
Yeah.
but at the same time, you're not going into uncharted territory. You know what everybody's got. And
Yeah.
at that point, you're like, okay, well, I need a whole bunch of Star Destroyers, and I need smaller quick response fighters.
Yeah.
And the fact that the TIEs could never go into freaking
Hyperspace.
hyperspace was a minor oops. But then they
Yeah.
solved that by doing the Interceptor. I think that's what it was called.
The Interceptor wasn't hyperspace capable either.
Wasn't it? I thought because the one that one Vader had, that was the bomber.
No,
that was a variation of the bomber. That one was.
That was actually an entirely new experiment. It was an experimental fighter, but it proved too expensive to mass produce.
Yeah. Well, that was the problem with the interdictor or whatever they called it. The
interdictor. Yeah.
Yeah, it was the same thing.
Phoenix Argus says a Canadian Borg doesn't use nanites to assimilate.
No. You got that wrong. The only thing us Canadians actually use maple syrup for is making money because we sell it to these dumbass Americans who put it on their pancakes.
Oh, I'm sorry. See, here's the thing. I'm actually a true believer in actual maple syrup, not that stuff they call maple syrup, but it's really just maple flavored syrup. I buy the actual shit.
Yeah. Well, if I find the right tree, I can just tap it. But we
got that in New England too, just not on the same level as as y'all Canadians.
So I had a theory.
Oh God, here we go. Revan's got a theory.
The reason for some is that so we all know that Force users can see the future, right?
Not a definitive future.
Yeah, a future. I believe that Palpatine saw something and Palpatine is scared of something. I don't know what it is.
But there was always that theory of the use of Vong. Like he
because that wasn't the theory. Before Disney took over, that was actual canon. Because that was in the old that was in the EU, because that's where you get Thrawn. Thrawn warns the Emperor of what's to come. Yeah. Which is why in the EU Thrawn is sent to go and establish the Empire, and prepare for the Empire to expand into the outer planets for that reason. But then when, of course, Disney takes over, that no longer is in the mythos, so yay mouse. But no, that link used to be, even if it was very lightly suggested, it was there. That little dot-to-dot connection was there because you had Thrawn, who, although he didn't agree with what the Empire stood for, it was basically he needed the Empire's power to go and beat back them so that he could get his homeworld back.
Well, now in the new canon, it's similar, but so Thrawn is basically part of he don't care about the Empire. Thrawn is part of the Empire to keep them away from his planet.
Yeah, so the other way around was he was out looking for the better looking, the better outlook of his people. Well, he's got these mother effers that are, I don't know if I can swear on your stream. These mother effers that
swear all you want.
Screwing up his homeland and his people. Well, there's these other big badasses over there. Well, if I get in good with them, I can make these two idiots fight, and then we don't have to. This is good. This is good strategic, So, it's kind of like the old Cold War situation. Let these two idiots fight it out, and we'll just sit over here for a while.
That's basically true, yeah.
Yeah. So, but at the same time, you have the Tarkin Doctrine, which is bigger, badder, and rule with an iron fist, which only works if there's another big bad. You can kind of equate it to modern warfare, right? Mm-hmm. All the modern major militaries of the world are, they're set up to go up against another country. The United States against China or North Korea or whatever. Yeah. They're not set up to go after these little pockets of people within a country that you're not in war with.
Yeah.
Which was the problem with the whole Afghanistan fiasco. because they were at war with this group, but not the country, which is a different way of looking at warfare, which is not what they're tooled to do. They're tooled to go, okay, these guys have pissed us off, and we're going to go and wipe them off the map now.
Right.
But
That's what
they're
I'm
not.
doing with you guys.
They're not tooled to go. Okay, well, we need to get rid of these idiots, but at the same time, not piss off the country they're in. What the hell, right?
Yeah.
So at the same time, so you can kind of look at it like the Tarkin Doctrine worked for like World War II, but it doesn't work in 2021.
I mean,
because the battlefield has changed. So the problem with the Tarkin Doctrine was doctrine did not change to circumstance.
Mm-hmm.
It tried to change circumstance to doctrine, and that never worked.
Well, I mean, you could honestly, a better comparison, I think, and you can obviously correct me if I'm wrong on this, a better comparison would be how we fought in the Korean War versus the Vietnam War. Korean War, it was an established enemy, the North Koreans. It was World War II style fighting. You get to Vietnam, jungle warfare, hit and run tactics, guerrilla warfare. So you have a formal military in the North Viet Cong,
and them trying to make it a police action. That was the other little snafu that completely botched everything, because it wasn't really declaring war. It was just, well, we're doing a police action. Well, your police action involves a whole bunch of aircraft carriers and Marines. Right? Like,
guys, this is turning into history debate.
No, it's not a history debate. It's not a history debate. What we're doing is we're basically saying the Tarkin Doctrine is if you think with a World War II combat mindset. It's not an adaptable mindset to a new form of enemy.
No. So you're trying to change your environment to match your doctrine instead of your doctrine to match your environment.
Exactly.
And that never works. It's never worked in history. It's never worked in real life.
Yeah.
So in film, obviously, now if it had worked, that's where you'd be going, huh? What the fuck? So the Empire failing makes sense because, again, you can never bring your environment to match your doctrine. Your doctrine has to match your environment.
Well, then again, at the same time, Palpatine never intended for the Empire to last beyond him.
Well, but he also planned on again
never going away.
Never going away. I mean, he planned on having clones of himself.
Yeah,
that continue on forever. Yeah. So as long as he had a single clone that he could take the DNA of and reclone again, he had an endless supply of bodies. Hence, the Empire would live. It'd be an eternal empire.
Yeah,
that was his original
Darth Vader
idea.
wasn't going anywhere anytime soon. So.
No, well, he was going to die at some point. I mean,
well, technically, Darth Vader, we don't know was he, because we don't know if Darth Vader was battery operated.
I'm not gonna attempt to comment on that one. I'm not going to. But so I mean, we've been going for almost an hour and 15 minutes. Do you want to comment on Phoenix Argus here? He says TIE Advance and TIE Defender were hyperspace capable. The TIE Avenger, I believe, was, however, also. However, I could be misremembering the details in TIE Fighter versus X-Wing. I played that when I was a kid.
I think the TIE Advance was. The TIE Defender, I think you're right on that.
Yeah.
I'm not sure about the Avenger, though.
I don't. I've heard of it. I don't know anything about it.
It's something I would have to actually go back and pay attention to, and I just don't have that kind of time. Yeah, I mean, if they had gone with the other thing too was the TIE fighters had no shield. The X-wings did. Again, it was trying to numbers. Right, so
exactly.
TIE fighters, they were trying to go with, well, we'll just throw a whole bunch of numbers at it, and booyah, we'll win. Whereas on the capital ship side, they went the opposite skinnamarink-do other side, where it was, no, we need the biggest with all the toys. that we can possibly build. And then on the TIE fighter end, they went more realistic. Well, we'll just use numbers. That's been used to death in real life, where you just throw the numbers at it. World War II is a prime example.
Soviets! Sorry.
The Americans.
They actually made a fun out of that tactic in Family in Futurama, where they said, I found out that these killbots had a kill number, and then they'd shut down. So I sent waves after wave after wave of helplessly defended and armed men into the paths of these killbots, and which caused them all to shut down. Isn't that right, men? To victory! We hate you!
Well, like the Russians, yes, with the T-34, and then the Americans with the Sherman.
Yeah, it was which,
and compared to the Panther the Panther was a better tank, but they didn't have the numbers.
Was it Panther or Panzer? I thought it was Panzer.
Panther.
I always heard
because there's the oh boy.
I always heard.
Okay, so if we really want to get into it, there's the Panther, there's the Tiger, there's the King Tiger.
Right. Yeah.
Then there's the Panzer I, the Panzer II, the Panzer III, the Panzer IV.
It was a Panther. Okay, I didn't know there was. I've only heard of Panther. I've known of the Panther and the various, Panther.
So by Middle War, you're looking at Panzer IIIs and Panzer IVs,
right?
And then they introduced the Panther and the Tiger, which are like your ultimate boss, and then they go right batshit crazy and come up with the King Tiger. And the elephant, because you got to be batshit crazy. Why not? So let me get this straight. We have a gun platform that can't go over bridges. Yep. All right, let's do it.
That's an artillery piece, basically.
Basically, I mean, the elephant didn't even have a turret. It was just this big, massive thing of steel. But yeah,
I always wondered, did Palpatine ever see the rise of a new Jedi Order? And that's why he pumped out so many ships to prevent it, like to try and kill the ancestors of these guys.
Not necessarily, because the Jedi could have hung out amongst the standard populace if they weren't using their Force abilities.
No, I'm not talking about a current Jedi, like in this lifetime, right? I'm talking about in the future, new Jedi. So what he thought he might do was kill a load of people and get rid of their ancestors.
I think the Yuuzhan Vong, because here's the thing, the Yuuzhan Vong, regardless if the Empire fell or not, the Yuuzhan Vong were going to happen.
I don't mean to be a prick, but it's Yuuzhan Vong.
What? Okay, how about this?
Yeah,
how about this?
Okay. I'm sorry, but Revan saying I don't mean to be a prick is like a Brit saying I don't mean to have tea.
Well, he's on my friend, note, so in this occasion, I don't mean to be a prick. But on every occasion after, yes.
Okay. But on that note, I gotta jump off because I've got to rest for a bit. I've got a karaoke stream coming up at 9:05, but I gotta jump off for a little bit. And
awesome. You want to plug yourself before you go?
Yeah, sure. Rambling Canuck. I do on my main channel. I do karaoke. I do just random shit, some Minecraft, just piss around mainly and make fun of normally Americans, and Revan when he shows up. And then on the other channel, History with R&R, I do all things history, and we do a radio show where I bring in people from the community. I've even sent Revan to the bottom of the Atlantic on the Titanic because I'm a nice person like that.
That is true. I'm currently still swimming back. I've gotten lost on more than a few
lot
occasions.
of fun things on History with R&R. I've kind of been down lately because, as I said, my kidney failed, so I've been doing dialysis and trying to get myself back.
I don't know if you watched my last stream, but we kind of plugged you.
Thank you.
Yeah, we've been plugging you every chance we get.
Thank you very much. And
Yeah.
but yeah, I try to get up. I try to come and say hi to people on the streams and stuff, and hang out when I can, and support smaller channels because I'm a smaller channel. So we all got to stick together. Because
I always thought that you were over 1,000.
oh, feg no, I'm at
Jeez.
307,
That is the beginning.
and then 160 on history with R&R.
I'm gonna have to check out the history with R&R because I'm a huge
I have the
history
tab
buff.
open here. I'll link you after the channel.
Yeah, but anyway, have a good one, and yeah, just remember, don't give Revan an inch because he'll take a mile because he's never taken a mile in
I've
his
given
life.
plenty of people an inch.
I have his children. He can't start shit with me.
Timmy, no.
No, what you
Fuck
do
it.
is you find a GIF of somebody chopping potatoes.
I was actually trying to look for that, but I didn't have enough
Now
time.
that
I was trying to
CSA?
find one, but I ran out of time. Yes.
What 17 more years? I'll just make another one.
all right, have a good one, folks.
Later, Ramblin'. Thanks for joining.
Bye.
Did you know? I know that there is one way to defeat the Empire in one day, and that it could have been done very, very easily. All you need is Dom from Fast and the Furious to tell him that the Empire has his family, and he would have gone into space in his car.
All you just see is here's what you see. We're like, we need to skim the surface till this point, and then you're like, and you just hear Han say, "But guys, we're family. We can't make that our family." And all you hear is family, and then he's like, "You got another torpedo?" He just sticks it out. He just bolts a launcher onto the top of his car, seals up the windows, and he's just driving along the trench, just drifting and dodging turbo laser fire. He's like, "Nobody messes with family." Hits the launch button and
then
goes
he jumps
down.
out, and then he just jumps out the window, and he's there, and he's like, "Sorry, your the car's fucked," and they're like, "Sorry, your family's in another star sector." He's there, and he's like, "You can't breathe in space." He's like, "Family," and then he goes into hyperspace. No car, just him go.
That's his version of going to Super Saiyan. He's like, "Family," and he just he just starts glowing yellow with blue eyes.
just being there, being like, "Family," and then at the end of it, he has a barbecue.
Yeah,
What
I know.
is it with that franchise and fucking barbecues?
Well, okay. In all honesty, barbecues are an amazing way to get family together. You just sit around, drink, have a bunch of grilled sides. I'm telling you, it sounds crazy, but especially here in America, nothing like some of the great times I had with my family is when we were doing barbecues and shit, and we would be playing in the pool, drinking and laughing. You hear the meat
Greeks?
grilling. You can smell it, and I'm telling you, barbecues. I get it. It's an American thing, and it's probably other cultures too. But we ain't got anyone else from the
barbecue
culture.
isn't really that big over here.
Oh, it's huge over here.
No, because that requires outside, and it rains a lot.
Yes, so does it in Florida.
Yeah.
So yeah, but we've been going for over an hour and 23 minutes. So
yeah, we need to go and wreck some shit on the high oceans.
Oh, we do. I got some. We'll have to get on voice chat later, and I got to tell you what happened to me when I was playing solo. Oh God, that was funny and amazing. So, anyways, all right, everybody, I'm going to start wrapping it up. I do want to plug some channels first. Some of the people who typically would show up or say they're going to show up. First one is a lovely young gal. She does Guild Wars on a channel. Her name is Katala Laris. I am putting her channel in the chat right now. And if you guys are a fan of PC gaming, Guild Wars, or just random conversations about almost anything, check out her channel, y'all. She does streams about once or twice a week. Sometimes more. They might be abrupt. but she does streams. I'll be on there periodically. Another member who I'm actually getting ready to plug his channel will join. Actually, 2 more members. So I'll just plug the other member right now. The other member is Farvithian Guard. If you guys are a fan of like retro style gaming, like arcade or just the old school gaming from the early 2000s and the 90s and maybe even 80s. You guys love that kind of shit, and you just love chaos and insanity and fun. Check out Farvithian Guard. I'm putting his channel in the link right there as well. Check him out. Super entertaining guy. I would highly recommend you sub to him and Katala both, so that way when they're going to be going live. You won't regret it. You won't regret it at all. And speaking of more PC gaming, another friend of mine, Philip Kilroy, he's got a channel, and he's had it for a bit, but he didn't really do anything with it. But he's now starting to get it active again, and he just did what was it? It was Star Trek Legacy, right?
Yes, and tomorrow we're appearing on his channel in Star Trek Online.
Yep. So both Revan and I will be there. Go to Phil's channel. Go to his. I get my tongue right. Go to his channel. Subscribe to it. So that way you get notified whenever he goes live. He's going to start doing STO streams. I'm going to try and be there when I can. Revan will be there, and some other people he knows will be there. Again, kind of like how Katala's is, except Phil's likes to do a lot more Star Trek games. But go check out his channel. And then yes, Phoenix. He's doing the Ultimate Universe mod, so he gets access.
He finished this.
No. But that's the mod he was playing with.
Yeah,
that's the mod he was playing with. So go check it out. And then another member who is usually here, but he's off, doing macho shit, I guess. I don't know what you want to call it. But another man by the name of Armchair Warlord, he has a book that he came out with, was it 2 years ago? I want to say. 1.5, 2 years ago, something like that. He came out with a book recently.
Yeah.
And it's called The Maiden's War. And it's a fantasy military book based around the time frame of World War I, set in his own world that he's created and everything. But that's kind of the closest modern thing we can compare it to is World War I. And he's written this book. It is a phenomenal book. I'm actually going to be plugging the Amazon link to his book right here in the chat. So go check out his book. Buy it, read it. Give them amazing reviews. Support your local and independent writers, because right now, as you know, a lot of big media places that put out a lot of books, they've gone super woke and don't give 2 shits about the fandom. They don't. They're fandoms. They don't. But independents like Armchair and many others, they are going to bring books and good storytelling back from the brink, and they're going to be the ones that are going to be the next gen of writers, because they have original ideas that are good. So support Armchair. He's a friend of mine. I highly encourage you guys to do that. Now, I can't believe I have to plug this one. I can't believe I have to, but
you don't have to. Every one of your subs are my sub, man.
Well, just in case. All right. Well, you know what then? I was trying to be nice, but you know what? Fuck it. Fuck it. Fuck it then.
But I do appreciate it.
Yeah. Anyways, y'all. So we're gonna wrap up.
CSA, if anyone is listening, CSA here is I wouldn't say the co-host. Well, he is the co-host. He's one of basically at this stage the co-founders of the YouTube channel Potato Revan. And we stream weekly at this stage. We're looking if we have more topics, we stream twice a week. We don't have a specific day, but my YouTube channel is literally my name, Potato Revan. So yeah, go check us out. We've got a couple of streams on there. We've been gaining a traction of late, and yeah, so things are going good.
Yep. So, in case anybody that is listening to this that is not subscribed to Potato Revin, go check his channel out. We've done gaming stuff. We've done topics on all sorts of shit so far. So in case anybody is listening and watching this, go check out his channel. Links in the chat right there. So yes. Phoenix Argus brings up a very good thing. If you want to sub to Potato Revin, go to your local restaurant and order some chips and fries. That is right. That is right.
My children.
Yes, that is right. So for those of you who subscribe to Potato Revin, one less of his child gets eaten.
Yeah.
So
remember, guys, every time you subscribe to me, I tell an SJW to go fuck themselves.
So please, we need him to be at 10 trillion subscribers. And you might say, well, CSA, there's no 10 trillion. Are you sure about that?
Simple. You can make more than one account.
Well, let's not forget the lizard people. We cannot discriminate against the lizard people now, okay?
We can't discriminate against the Canadians. They're
oh, I discriminate against them all the time. Because we throw it back and forth. We're kind of like that war between what is that war? I think it's between like Finland or Sweden
Canada and Denmark.
Canada and Denmark, where there's no actual shot been fired. They just go to the island and swap flags and put like a different like alcohol or thing on there. Yep. And it's basically like that.
Did you not hear since the losses due to the pandemic of each one, both countries left a wreath and condolences and a plushie?
I'm actually not surprised by that. I'm not surprised at all. So, but anyways, y'all, I want to thank everyone who has watched this stream for being here and commenting. I want to thank Phoenix, Revin, and Rambling Canuck. I want to thank you guys for chatting and being a part of this stream. It means so much to me. I do not take y'all for granted. I don't. You mean a lot to me.
Same.
You support this in the algorithm. If you guys, if Rambling and Phoenix, if you guys can chill out my stuff, because I have very limited.
Oh, actually, you've already been chilled out by Rambling.
Rambling. Bless you, brother. Bless you for that.
I've already chilled you out as well myself, man. I always do it.
Yeah, I know.
I sent a link. I sent a link to Ray, but he's going doing some stuff.
That's fine. That's fine. I'm just grateful for every single one of my subscribers and everyone who listens and watches. I am so thankful from the depths of my heart. It means so much to me.
You're up to 28 subscribers.
Awesome. Whoever subscribed, those who have subscribed, thank you. Thank you. It means a lot to me. So we're gonna end this here. Thank you all for watching.
There's a joke that you usually make when someone gains a subscriber, but the thing is, at our levels, we can't afford to make that joke. I'll tell you the joke afterwards.
Okay, sounds good. So, for those of you who are listening to this and are not subscribed, hit that subscribe button so you'll get notifications when I go live. It means a whole lot to me if you do. And hit that like button as well. Hit it, slam it, make sure the algorithm knows you like this stuff. And till next time, Common Sense America and my co-host Potato Revin, and to our guest Rambling Canuck, I want to thank you all so much. We will see you all later.